Hello and welcome to the channel. And for today's video is just going to be a quick update on the custom that I'm doing on the Masterverse He-Man. Right now, as you can see, just a bunch of disassembled parts here. You're also seeing the Origins He-Man there. So I'll get to that in just a second. But first, just a quick update on the channel. Just want to say thank you to everyone that has been checking out the videos lately. Thank you very much. We have reached 50 subscribers, so that's cool. And that McFarlane Bandman 1000, the black and gray version video has really taken off. It's almost at 1400 views, so thank you very much. And others are starting to pick up steam as well because of it, so thank you very much to everyone. Please, people always say, like, comment, subscribe, and all of that, but everything does help the channel grow, so much appreciated. So then second, excuse my voice, I've been sick. I had a pretty nasty cold a few weeks ago, and I'm still coming out of it, and it's been exceedingly cold here in Southern California lately, and that hasn't helped. So yeah, there's that. So on to the content. So what you see here, of course, is disassembled He-Man figure and the Origins He-Man with the reworked or modern head, right? So originally, the idea was I was going to use that head on this figure, as I had explained. Since this figure, you can clearly see right here the difference in the neck size from this and the Origins line. So because of the smaller neck, and because this one has slightly longer hair than the classic looking head, the it was gonna look a little bit better on this guy. But after a second thought, and after purchasing a second version of this guy, oops, I think I knocked the mic, hopefully not the audio. So I purchased a second version of this guy with the classic the classic head. I already had one, but I got a second one, and so here's the second head. And as you can see, he's in a state of repaint right now. This one, actually, you can see some of the imperfections here in the plastic. I don't know if the camera's gonna focus. There you go. You can see something like a line going around the head. That's how the figure was, and there's also some imperfections around the eyes. But anyway, so the reason you can see he's painted gray. This is a primer. So originally I was trying to just remove the paint, using either alcohol and what's it, acetone. But the paint that Hasbro uses is really, really tough. I couldn't remove it with either, so I just decided, well, I'm just gonna have to spray paint it. So I painted the entire thing. I mean, I had to repaint everything anyway because I was gonna redo the whole figure. So I'll get to that again. So I spray painted the head primer gray, and this is the color of the face that I'm going with. So as many or some of you may know, the Revelations figures that came out from the Masterverse line, the skin tone on the He-Man almost had like a yellowish, I don't know, emaciated look to him. He looked kind of sick. So the whole purpose of tearing down the figure was to repaint him. So originally I was going to try, in a previous video I had mentioned I was going to try and match the color on the face from the Origins line to the for the Masterverse figure, right? For the Revelations figure. Well, color matching, isn't really, without knowing the exact paints and the formulas to create an exact match, it's kind of tough. So that's why I ended up buying a second figure with a second head, so I can just repaint it completely and go with my own, skin tone. So as you can see, if we can compare the two, you can see that this guy is a little more tanned looking, and then the lighting, the lighting. Well, the lighting is also, changing a little bit of the tone, but you can see the difference. This guy's a little more orange, and this is a little more tan, a little more like Mediterranean style coloring, skin tone coloring. So he looks a little more and like the original toys, which I happen to have right here, my original battle armor and my original He-Man. I still own these guys, although in different states. So I tried to match the skin tone to this, but again, you can still see there's a difference, right? But it looks much better than you can see here from the bottom of the nubs, the original color of the of what was the entire figure. So the skin tone, that was one of the main complaints people had with this, other than the little tiny head. So that's why I decided to just repaint the entire figure. And this figure has been repainted, like I said, completely as far as the skin tone, top to bottom. All of these parts, I pulled out all of the parts as best as I could that you could tear apart. So I mixed my own paint. There's a cool. I found an app on. I'm recording on my phone, so I can't show you a screenshot of the app that I used. But I found an app on the Google Play Store that you can take a picture and it'll give you like percentages of different tones and whatnot, and how to get them by color matching different colors, right? Mixing and matching different percentages of colors. I had taken a picture of the face of this guy and trying to do the color matching that way, but then when I realized I wasn't gonna get close, that's when I decided to go in a different direction. But basically this guy is like 40 to 50% white, 20% yellow, 5 to 10% red, and some black, a few drops of black in there, added in there to give that little darker shade on the tone, right? So again, this is the upper body. Everything has been repainted. I still have to put it all together. I've been softening the joints because of the clear that I applied on the figure. The clear that I use, this is pretty stuck here, so I have to keep working it. The clear that I use, there's a little chipping, but that's to be expected because obviously as you add paint, no matter how careful you are by applying clear, you're gonna thicken it up more, the tolerances, more so than how the original figure was. Of course, you're adding paint to a plastic that was already toleranced, so things are gonna rub. But anyway, the clear that I use is this duplicolor paint, right? The matte for wheels. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, you can see he's painted up until underneath the upper abs, the sides, and everything. So let me little paint chipping here as I had tried to, I went like this. The paint hadn't completely, the clear hadn't completely dried, so I had to go back, do some correcting. But for the most part, everything is, you could even say, it's some scars. But yeah, so this is all dried up. You have to, maybe retouch that area right there. So that's the upper body. These are the legs. Go this way. All right. So the legs have been repainted. I only painted up until like this. I didn't need to repaint the entire joint system here, the hinges, because obviously that's going to rub off as you pose the figure. So I did paint them on the back, but you can see how some of it is already rubbing off. Right, so that's the legs, the two fists, the gripping hand fists. I still have to repaint the other extra hands that it comes with the figure. I didn't bother to paint the pegs, and then the arms and the biceps. Right. You can see also a good look of what the color was on the inside before. So in my opinion, a much better color for the figure. And of course, there's just the legs and the bracers. I still have to repaint these. I haven't decided if I'm going to paint them in like the orange, like on the Origins, or do a combination, maybe paint them gold. I don't know. I still have to see what are my options. This is the paint mix that I created. So this is my He-Man color for right now. The shield I'm gonna have to repaint. Speaking of weapons, so this is the sword. I ended up repainting the sword. I painted it with a chrome, a duplicator chrome. It's not a mirror chrome though. It almost looks more like a silver. But always when I start recording, noise on the outside. But anyway, so I ended up painting this guy, the sword, from the hilt up. I didn't paint the bottom. Again, it's more of a silver than a mirror chrome. It's the other reason I have this guy is to compare, because on this guy, this is just straight up the paint. On this guy, I painted the sword in the same color, but I applied the clear, but this has a bright clear, a gloss clear. And you can see the difference of what happens when you apply a clear to a chrome paint. The chrome isn't the best paint, depending on the type of clear that you use. But I used the same brand clear, a duplicolor clear gloss clear over the chrome, and this is how it came out. So yeah, quite a difference. It almost looks like an aluminum type color. But I wanted to see how it looked with a really reflective finish. And it looks all right. I guess I was expecting a little more shininess from after applying the clear to the chrome, but you know, it changed the entire color basically of the sword here. So there's that. So once you apply the head to the figure, I still haven't applied a clear to this. So this is the pure color of the paint dry versus once it has a clear on it. So you can see there is a slight difference in the color shading once you apply the clear. But once you apply the head, and at certain angles, you can get away with the classic head. You have him looking downwards like that. Let me see. You can't really tell he has a small neck. One thing that I was contemplating, and I still am, is probably getting a second Revelations figure, getting another Origins figure, and doing a little experimentation and ripping off, tearing off the neck from one of these guys and transplanting it to one of these guys so that the classic head can sit more appropriately and it doesn't look out of whack like this. So that's something that I'm contemplating, but I'll probably wait until I can get this figure, both the figures at a cheaper price, you know, on sale or something. I don't want to destroy something that I'm paying full price for. So maybe I can get one, you know, second hand and then just, you know, go crazy. But as it stands right now, you know, like this, if I have the figure posed like this, it doesn't look so bad, right? So there's that. Also, you can see here, this is the bracer from chest piece armor, whatever you want to call it. This is from another one of the Origins, but as you can see, the one that this guy has here, he doesn't have the red squares on the straps. That's because I wanted to see how it would look with him having the Filmation look from the cartoon. The Filmation look, the straps didn't have the red blocks. It was just completely smooth with the iron red cross. So I wanted to see this look and see how it looked on this guy. You can see, you know, some remnants of the squares. All I did was just, you know, slice off the with an X-Acto knife. I sliced off the squares, and then using wet sandpaper, you know, I went at different grits. I started with like a 320 grit to really, you know, remove any excess and trying to keep it as, you know, as smooth as possible. And then I keep going with different grits, going with higher grades, you know, 600, 800, 1000, until I got a smooth and slick finish. And I don't feel any, I mean, I can slightly feel some bumping, but it's more or less from me, you know, cutting a little too deep into the plastic. But if I had cut a little, you know, flush with the surface of the strap, it's you can see it's pretty much smooth all around. I'm gonna repaint this in a gray and just repaint the iron cross red. Also, here's a tip for those, you know, I don't know how many people have actually clipped on the shield to their figures like this, but you can clip on the shield to his back just by hitching it to the sides like this, right? although it may loosen up a little bit the connection, but it does stay on there. So just hitch it onto the sides and that's it. So yeah, that's the update on the Masterverse He-Man. This I've let the clear cure for like 2 weeks, so it's, you know, probably a little excessive, but just to make sure that the finish has been completely cured and to avoid minimal, you know, accidents like paint chipping, you know, and stuff like that. So next I'm going to decide if I'm going to go with the gold for the belt and the bracers, or an orange like this guy. And also I am going to attempt to shade the figure. I will be using a dry chalk, or not dry chalk, pastels, dry pastels that excuse me, that look like chalk, right? Dry pastels. Just, you know, dab it a little bit in the crevices, and then just fade it off. Oh, and speaking of fading, I wanted to mention that this figure, the whole parts of the skin tone and everything, they were all hand painted. I did not use spray paint or airbrush. I don't own an airbrush. All of this was accomplished by hand, and as you can see, there is no brush marks. The method that I used was I would apply the paint, right? Again, I have the paint right here. It looks a little thick, but it's actually, let's see, you can see through it looks a little thick, but that's because it's been resting for 2 weeks. You know, just add a little more water, and you know, it will apply. I mean, it was a pretty much like a 60-40 mix of paint and water. But anyway, the technique that I used, let me see. Basically, I would just, you know, grab the paint, use a brush. This is the brush that I used. Go in sections, right? So I apply the paint, and then I would go in with a hair dryer and, you know, turn it on for like, I don't know, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, to the point where the paint was almost completely dry, but you can still see like wet spots. And then using this brush, this round makeup brush, I would just go in and dab and blend it all, right? I would blend it in to keep a smooth look, right? And avoid the brush strokes. So once one part was finished, I would dab paint, apply more paint to different areas. Again, apply heat with the blow dryer to the point where it was almost dry, and then keep going and adding and blending the color. Right, I would then blend over the other side that was previously painted, and you know, that was the technique that I applied throughout the whole figure. Even this part in the face that doesn't have a clear, once you apply a clear, the clear does help hide some of the strokes, but you can see here that the face that doesn't have any clear on it, you can see that there are no brush strokes visible, right? So you can get a smooth look if you paint by hand. Of course, you have to you know, get the right mix, the mixture of your paints, right? Dilute them to the perfect you know, point where it won't get, where it isn't too wet, that when you apply a second or third coating, it's not gonna flake off. Because if it is too thin, and if you go over it again, the first layer will flake off once you apply wetness or dampness to the paint again. It's gonna reactivate it and it's gonna flake off. So you have to get the right mixture. It's trial and error. As I've mentioned in a previous video where I talked about how I mix my paints, you gotta work with what you got, work your ratios to the point where you know what's gonna work for you, and then that's how you're gonna get great looking results. So that's what works for me. So again, I would just apply the paint, and then with this round makeup brush, I would just all blend it in. So once I start working and applying the shadows on this guy, it's pretty much gonna be the same technique of using the dry pastels. I'm just gonna dab it on and then just blend it in there into the crevices. The thing is, this guy has a lot of dimpling on the skin. Right, they did a great job with the skin texture. I don't know if it's gonna be able to show you. You can see right there, around the entire skin, he does have a lot of little cool textures on him. So I gotta be careful and not, I don't want to dimple everything or show everything, right? Just the heavy parts, right, for the shadowing around the muscles and whatnot. So I want to see how that looks. And since I already have a clear on this, if I make a mistake, I can just easily wash it off and start over. Once the shadowing is to my liking, I can apply another coat of clear and work from that. So yeah, so I still have ways to go. This is for this guy. So the shield, I'll probably paint in the same color as the sword. Maybe try a different color. Maybe if I find like if I try I don't know, a gunmetal or something, or like an iron color. I don't know. I definitely don't want to try this color. I want to try something different. And then paint the straps into like a brown to match like the leather on the boots, right? I still have to paint the straps on the boots as well, the same color as the fluffy parts here. And then also add some shading to all of this as well. So yeah, this project is just barely starting, but the key part was getting the skin tone right, and also the paint right, in a sense that it stays on the figure after all the posing and whatnot. Right. So there you go. So that's the update on this, guys. I'll probably use this strap. I'll keep it on. I was thinking of using this strap for this guy, but I'll probably just keep this one. I don't know. I'll see how it looks. So, and I've been dropping the microphone. Oh my god, I don't know how much of the audio was recorded on this. I'm gonna have to check and see and maybe re-record. So, oh my god. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.